All right, I live in Birmingham, Alabama by way of Selma. So I'm here with Women of Will, I'm here with SOS, I'm here with the Bridge Crossing Jubilee, I'm here with Birmingham's local NAACP, and we all came and we drove all night to make it here.
Right.
We understand that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, and that's not going to happen on our watch. You know, I want to encourage our young folks that have the houses and the cars to know that the fight continues. The fight is not over. We are in the season of the 50s. 2013 was the 50th year of the Civil Rights Movement. This year is the 50th anniversary of Board versus Brown. Brown versus Education. Yes. Next year is going to be the 50th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. And guess what? All those things are in jeopardy right now. Everything that our folks died, marched, cried for is at jeopardy. And we are sitting at home watching Scandal. And that's scandalous. Racism, sexism, classism, our children in education. And we are sitting at home watching reality TV shows. I just want to say, you guys need to plan to be in Selma, Alabama on the 50th anniversary next March. And know that the fight is not over. We will be marching as often as it takes until we get our rights back. No justice, no peace.
Now, because the media is here, let us make it clear what we want. We want, say we want.
We want
the full protection.
the full protection
Of the 15th Amendment.
of the 15th Amendment.
No one has the right
Has the right
to abridge
to abridge
the right to vote.
the right to vote.
We want
We want
the full protection.
the full protection,
The 14th Amendment.
14th Amendment,
Equal protection
equal protection
under the law.
under the law.
We want
We want
a strong and amended
an amended
Voting Rights Act
Voting Rights Act.
that covers all of the states.
All of the
We
states.
won
We won.
49 years ago.
That's right, 49 years ago.
Alabama must be covered.
Alabama,
North Carolina must be covered.
North Carolina,
South Carolina must be covered.
South Carolina must be
Florida
covered.
must be covered.
Florida must be
Tennessee
covered.
must be covered.
Tennessee must be
Virginia
covered.
must be covered.
Virginia
We cannot have less now
have less
than
now.
we won back then.
Back then.
And then after this,
And after this,
what we need is a constitutional change
is a constitutional change.
to fully protect the right to vote.
The right to
If you
vote.
have a constitutional right to carry a gun,
To carry a gun.
you ought to have a constitutional right
That's
to fully protect the vote.
fully protect the vote.
That's what we want.
That's what we want.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Now,
Amen. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Hardees, and I'm the pastor of All Souls Church Unitarian here in Washington, D.C. And to all of our friends from across the South who came here to D.C., I want to welcome you to Washington, D.C., and to say that we in D.C., those of us who live and work and build our families here, know something about disenfranchisement, because we do not have a vote in the United States Congress here in Washington, D.C., and we want to say that we know what disenfranchisement is, and that's why we stand with you in this struggle. I also want to say something personal. I was not born yet in 1965 when some of you marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. But a former minister of my church heeded Dr. King's call in 1965. His name was James Reed. And he marched across that bridge in 1965. And after that march, he went and had dinner with some colleagues in a diner, in a black-owned diner that night. And when he came out of that diner, 4 Klansmen came up from behind him and swung a bat at his head and killed him. And his blood is on the pavement in Selma, Alabama. We are going to go back to Selma next year for that Jubilee, and we are going to get voting rights for everyone in this country. Thank you very much.
say we must fight now so we can celebrate the 50th. Fight now.
Fight now.
Then celebrate.
Then celebrate.
We've got 3 more speakers.
Buenos dias. I've got to tell you, this is impressive. This is incredible. The other thing is, this is not an African-American battle. This is not a white battle. This is not and Hispanic Latino battle. It's everybody's battle. We have to get together and show the people this is not acceptable and we're here for a change. The Hispanic community will continue to fight for the voter rights because we have for years, centuries, have battled the same fights that the African Americans have fought. And we're not going to accept it anymore. We're going to join this group, and we need you to join us today. Let's do it, okay?
Amen.
Thank you.
All right, we have a young man that's coming because young people have to be at the center of the movement.
That's right.
Is that right, my brother?
It warms my heart. Oh, excuse me. My name is Lucas Melton. I'm with Black Youth Vote, initiative of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. It warms my heart today to see us assembled. But also, it sorrows me to know that 50 years after Martin Luther King's dream, it's not a reality yet. It should be a reality. It shouldn't just be a dream. You see, when you look at the voting process in the country, you see the integrity of that country. If the voting process is flawed, then the society is flawed. The currency of democracy is the vote. Without the vote, we're broke. We don't have anything. Our pockets are empty. You see, the first fight starts inside of our own souls. When we decide that inside ourselves, we'll go and we'll create change in every community, in every street, in every state, and we'll galvanize our people to the point that these laws work for us and not work us. Thank you.
All right, that's good. At this time, we want to record.
Some directions, y'all. Thank y'all for meeting us. Y'all, one more. Okay. This book, we want you to purchase it. We stayed all night doing this book. We do the Jubilee March every year with SCLC and others. You must come back to Selma, but you can help us get back to Alabama if you just purchase this book with our martyrs in this book. Reverend Reed, listen to this. The man that killed Reverend Reed, not only did he get away with it, but he owns a car company and black people buy cars from him and made him rich. It's something wrong for people that don't know their history. Hold up, Miss Boynton. Miss Boynton is 108 years old, still living. Miss Annie was on the bridge and she's on her way over here. We want y'all to march with us to the Congress. That's who can change the law. So as we hear from the last speakers, how many of y'all gonna go with me and us to the Congress? Are y'all going with us? All right.
Our last speaker, and then we're going to have a word of prayer.
I'm Adam McFadden, president of the National Black Caucus of local elected officials. We also have James Walls, who's the president of the World Conference of Mayors. There's nobody that understands the right to vote like elected officials do, especially black ones, because we fight and scratch for every vote. But I would just raise this question to the same people who are trying to restrict our right to vote. Why is it that you want to put guns in the hands of everybody? Make it easier for people to get guns. Restrict how much ID they need to get a gun. Restrict the amount of ammo that they can have. Put no limits on any of it. But then you want to limit our right to vote.
Come on, Doc.
Why would we allow you to put death in our hands and not a ballot?
That's right.
Somebody needs to ask that question. Because it seems to me that we're too busy running around fighting the wrong fight. Our equity comes in our vote. Even Ronald Reagan, the conservative god, said in 1983 that there was no act on the United States government greater than the Voters' Rights Act that was passed, because he said it was the true essence of democracy. So if Ronald Reagan felt that way, the people the person they all look up to, how is it that they can turn away from that? How is that? So we need to make sure that our elected officials know that it's important to reinstate Section 5. It is important to reinstate Section 5 because we all deserve representation. And guess what? If we miss that opportunity, it'll be the death of our country.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Let's thank him. Say reinstate. Section 5. Section 5. Full strength.
Full strength.
Section 5. Every state. Covered. Now. No states that were covered. Left out. Democrats. Republicans. Come together. It happened 50 years ago. It must happen today. And so as we understand, and we want you to know this is the first gathering that has been back to this Supreme Court since Shelby. This is the first one. This is the first one. But it can't be the last one. We come today to talk to say this in front of the Supreme Court. We go to the Congress, we lobby today, but then we go back. Dr. King said go back. We go back to our states. We will organize to challenge our Congress people, all parties, to do the right thing. We will motivate people in the street. We are thankful that there is a bill in the Congress, but a bill that is not strengthened and amended is not enough. Too many states are left out of what is being prepared, what is being proposed. And secondly and finally, in the current bill, it's important for us to understand so that we're not just speaking in generalities. In the current bill, if it was passed as it is, a state could pass voter ID.
That's right.
Yeah.
You could take them to court.
That's right.
The state could be proven guilty in court of discrimination, but that voter ID bill would not be a trigger for pre-clearance. That's the deficiency in the bill. The bill also says that if you were to sue in a state and that state says has 5 violations, but if it has one case where they prove 5 violations, the 5 violations only count as 1 violation. And the current bill says you have to have 5 violations in order to be considered for pre-clearance. That is why I say the Voting Rights Act
It's a shame.
change that's being proposed is a beginning, but it is far, far, far from what we need. We must fight. Fire, as we tell us how we go, where we go from
Okay,
here.
hold up this sign, y'all. This is the original picture. Hold it up high, Diane. This is Jose Williams, and this is Mama. Was on that bridge that day. She was the only person arrested. Y'all give it up to Miss Annie Pearl Avery. But this is what we want to do, Reverend. We want to march in twos, just as they did on Bloody Sundays. Hold it up again so they can see it.
Twos.
I know everybody want to be on the front line, but y'all, nobody wanted to be on the front line back then because they were beaten like dogs. So I want a young person, if possible, to march with an elder. So as we prepare, start getting your partner and don't march with somebody you know.
Here we are once again at the Supreme Court building, and we have with us today
Troy City Councilwoman DeGeraldine King Henderson. I am from Troy, Alabama.
and Councilwoman, what brings you out today to stand out in front of this historic building?
I am here today because I am a native of Alabama. It was Shelby County, Alabama, that caused the disruption that we have in the Voting Rights Act.
Yes.
I am a product, I am an elected official because of the Voting Rights Act.
right.
I am here to make sure that the injustice that was done by Shelby County, Alabama, be undone. And the only way to make that happen is for people like myself who are elected officials to make their voices heard, to take a stand, and to get out and support activities that are taking place like the ones today.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here on today, and we want to just say that, you know, you're a part of history, you're part of legacy, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Councilman Adam McFadden. Councilman, what brings you out today?
Well, it's important to support the movement to reinstate the Section 5 of the Voters' Rights Act, but we also are working on additional issues up on the Hill, such as black male achievement, stand your ground laws, food deprivation, just making sure that Congress understands the issues that we face back home.
And do you think that the march today will be having any impact on the voting rights law?
I think it's a nice start, but we have to do our work to organize people all over the country so that everyone understands how important it is. A march is a nice way to start it, but it's really going to take a movement to change this.
Thank you so much, Councilman, for being here on today.
Thank you.
All right. We're here in front of the Supreme Court building, and we want to ask you to tell us your name and what brings you out here on today.
I'm James Montgomery from Anniston, Alabama, and I'm here, like everybody else, to protest about the Voting Rights Act and hopefully to get a bill out of Congress that will make it more applicable to the southern states. And I'm also a candidate for the county commission in my city. And that's why voting is important, and that's why we're here to make sure that Congress understands and the Supreme Court understands that we don't want to go back, we want to go forward.
Well, Mr. Montgomery, thank you so much for coming out on today, and we do know that you are making a difference by being out here on today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're still in front of the Supreme Court building on this historic day, and can you give us your name? We know that you're from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Would you give us your name and why you're out here on today?
Yes, my name is Damian Connors, and I'm here in solidarity with SOS to advocate for the full restoration of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And so we're here because we know that there's broad sweeping implications if this act is not fully restored.
Okay, and let me ask, is there anything in particular that you want to see come forth in the area with Southern Christian Leadership Conference that you are in Georgia?
Well, specifically, we want to make sure that all of our chapters and affiliates know exactly what's happening with the Voting Rights Act, and we want to mobilize them to be activated on this issue and to make sure that they're addressing it locally, because there are implications connected to the removal of Section 4 and 5 of the Act. So just to make sure that they are in compliance with whatever laws are on the books currently in their state, so that when election time comes in November, they're able to cast their ballot at the polls.
There you just heard the Executive Director of SCLC. Thank you so much for being out here on today.
Hands off our communities now! Hands off the people now! Hands off the people now! Hands off our cities! Hands off our cities! Hands off the states! Hands off our nation! Hands off our unity! Hands off our unity! Hands off our dignity! Hands off our dignity! Hands off our respect! Hands off our respect! Hands off our respect! We want the right to vote! Now! Where do we want the right to vote? When do we want it? Now! Where do we want the right to vote? When do we want it? Now! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! When do we want it? Now! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like!